Hello friends, welcome you for the further discussion with related to the motivation and leadership. Friends, as we were discussed about the module 5 of MOB, we discussed in the previous sessions with related to the motivation. With regard to motivation, we have discussed what is the meaning of motivation, what are the various theories of motivation. Moving ahead with that, we have one more component or content with regard to this module is the leadership. As we know that the important aspect of any organization is the driving force who lead an organization. In every organization, there will be a leader who always motivates, encourages, take an initiation to achieve the objectives of the organization. In this session, let us focus more about what is the meaning of leadership and what are the different styles of a leadership in the organization. To move ahead, leadership is the ability of an individual or a group of people to influence and guide followers or members of an organization or a society or a team. So the leadership, it is an ability to help or it is an ability to influence others, either group of people or a team or within the society, who influences or guide or motivate others to achieve the objective of an organization is a leadership. This leadership concept contain the following points. It means whom do we can call as a leadership or concept of the leadership. If there is an existence of a leadership, there should be an existence of first condition is the followers. Always leader will have a followers in the organization who act as a influencer. Those people are influenced by a leader. Then leader will also have a interpersonal influence in between the people. He or she will influence the people who are the followers or the interpersonal in between the people. In between, interpersonal means in between the people they influence. Then leadership will also have a condition or a situation like uneven power sharing. There is not an even power sharing, whereas it is influenced by a uneven power sharing. Then there will also be a common goals. The leader and the followers will have a common goals which is to be achieved by the people in the organization. And leadership is situational in nature. It is not fixed, it is not conditional, it is always a situation. Leadership purely based on the situation. In a given situation, who takes the right decision as well as rightly influence and motivate the people. So these are the some of the concept contain the leadership behavior. Then the functions of a leader. Though it is not included, but it is our responsibility to understand what are the functions of a leader. The first and foremost function of a leader is to that he or she develops a teamwork. There is always a need for a teamwork for the success of any organization. So who influences to develop the teamwork is a leader in the organization. Then leader is a representative of a subordinates. Always leader solves the problems of a subordinate whenever they arise, and he takes the issues of the employees or issues of the organization or issues of a team to the higher level, or he being a leader solves the problem of a employees in the organization. So that is why he always represents the subordinates or the members of his team or members of the organization. And leader is a appropriate counselor. Whenever the problem arises, to solve the problem, he counsels the team or he counsels the individual employee, and he solves the problem of a employees in the organization or subordinates of his own. Then he uses power properly. Unnecessarily exerting a power or unnecessarily executing a power either to punish or reward an employee is not good. He uses power properly whenever a power need to be exerted or executed, he uses a power properly. Then leader also follows the time. Time management is one of the key of a successful leader in the organization. Then leader strives for effectiveness. All the time he strives to be effective, utilizing his time, utilizing his subordinates activities as well as the proper timing, and utilizes his effectiveness in the area of solving the problem or guiding the employees, guiding the subordinates in the organization. So to put it in a nutshell, effective leader perform a function is most the time is developing the teams, then taking the responsibility of a representing the subordinates problems and solving the problems. He acts as a counselor to the employees. He uses power very effectively and properly to get the work done. Then he is a good time management manager in the organization, and he strives for effectiveness in the process of achieving the objectives or goals of the organization. So briefly, these are the functions of a leader in the organization. Then moving on to what are the importance of a leadership. Why there is a need for a leader in the organization. For every success of the organization, there is always a importance of a leadership. The leader inspires the employees. You can just imagine around whether the leader is a political leader, leader in the organization, or leader as a social leader in the environment. You can just observe outside, or few of you are working in the organization, you may be following someone in the organization and you consider him or her as a leader to you. How they inspire the employees? Always by functioning properly as a time manager, as an influencer, or solving a problem one or the other way, he or she strive to inspire the employees. Unless and until you have a leader, you don't if you don't have a leader in the organization, it is very difficult to inspire the employees in the organization. So leadership importance in the organization to inspire the employees. To inspire, you are supposed to motivate the employees in the organization. So to motivate, a leader need to be a guiding principle in the organization. And leader also secure the cooperation of the each and every employee in the organization. Unless and until you secure the cooperation, it is very difficult to get the work done by an employees in the organization. So that is why it is very important. As a leader, he plays an important role in securing the cooperation of the employees. When the cooperation of the employees is properly organized in the organization, then with the cooperation of every employee, the objective or goal of an organization can be achieved, then creates a confidence in the minds of the employees. Every employee, whoever is working in the organization, need to be develop a confidence. Unless and until there is no confidence within the employee minds, it is very difficult to get the work done by an employee. So at every point of time, the confidence building measures need to be undertaken by the organization. This confidence building measure can be achieved by a leadership in the organization. Then one more important aspect in the importance of a leadership is he or she need to provide a good working climate or the environment in the organization. Unless and until you have a good working environment or a creative environment in the organization, whether in terms of a infrastructure required by employees, whether the climate in terms of a interpersonal relationship within the employees, and the physical environment in the working place which is provided by a leader in the organization. So these are the importance. The four importances of a leadership in the organization is he acts as a catalyst in inspiring the employees. He secures the cooperation of the employees within the organization, then creates a confidence, that is confidence building measure within the employee or within the group of people whom he or she is leading, and ultimately providing a good working environment in the organization. These are the importances of a leadership. Then moving on to the core part of this session is the leadership styles. See, every leader, one or the other way, adapts or inculcate the styles. These styles are divided broadly into three different categories. The leadership styles are broadly divided into three categories. First one is directive, autocratic or authoritarian style. The synonymously we use three different names for the first type of a leadership style, that is called as directive, autocratic or authoritarian style. Then the second type of leadership style is participative or democratic style. Then the third type is laissez-faire or free rein leadership. Laissez-faire or free rein leadership. If you can look at the names given to these styles, we know the meaning of the words which we are attached with the leadership style: directive, autocratic or authoritarian, then participative or democratic, then laissez-faire or free rein leadership style. Don't get confused. Different authors, different users, different types of a leadership style. But to put it all in under one category, or I have taken a one author's direction to classify these into three categories. Now let us try to dissect each one with related to the features and how does these types of leadership works in the organization. The first type as I have already introduced, is directive, autocratic, or authoritarian. Directive type of a leadership is a one, always they direct the employees while discharging their duties or responsibilities. Autocratic means normally passing an order. Autocrat, they expect employees work according to their requirement. Or authoritarian is always they feel they need to have a authority over the employees. That's the category of directive, autocratic, and authoritarian style of a leadership. What are the features attached with this kind of a leadership style? Centralized power and decision making. These type of leaders always exert a centralized power. It means always they take a decision, the power is centralized and it is attached with a leader who always takes a decision without allowing anybody to participate in decision making. Whatever they decide, they feel that that is the right thing. Maybe in a given situation, this type of leadership may work out. Then second feature of this directive, autocratic, or authoritarian style of a leadership is close supervision and control. Always they monitor the work of an employee, the responsibility given to an employee. They see to that always they are having a close supervision, and they control the flow of work, they control the flow of materials in the organization. They also control the behavior of the employees in the organization by having a close supervision. You can imagine most of the time this autocratic, maybe in the government organization, this kind of a leadership style may work. Or even in case of a private organization where depending upon the level of education of an employee, or depending upon the kind of a work undertaken by an employee, wherein there is a need for a close supervision and the control. This type of leadership, discipline through rewards and the punishment. The discipline can be brought in the organization either by the way of rewards or by the way of a punishment. Otherwise, it is very difficult to get the work done by an employees in the organization. This kind of a leadership, as we have seen, is discipline is brought by the way of rewarding an employee or by the way of punishing an employee. This kind of leadership style adapts with regard to the communication. Always it is a one-way communication, that is top-down approaches, passing an order, passing a communication from the top to bottom. They never have an habit of listening to the employees who are working under them. It's a one-way communication. Always orders is passed by a leader, and it has to be followed by the followers in the organization. That's the one-way communication. Then total dependence of subordinates on the superior. The working environment is such that always they look towards the leader for the communication, to do any work, to do any or to take any decision. Always the employees look at the superior or a leader in the organization. That is why the employees always depend on their superiors to go ahead to take any decision or to continue with any work. In this situation, the total dependence of a leader is expected within the organization. So these are some of the features of the autocratic, directive, or authoritarian types of a leadership in the organization. So as we came to know that what is the meaning of autocratic, directive, or a authoritarian leadership, After knowing the features, uh, the idea or a question arises in our mind. Does this kind of a leadership is useful for the organization? So to understand that, now let us look into the advantages and disadvantages of a directive, autocratic or authoritarian leadership. If you look into the advantages, this ensures the faster decision making in the organization. Because when you call everyone for the meeting, when you discuss, when you throw the concept, and if you allow everybody to participate in decision making in a given situation, it may be a lengthier process and the decision may not happen quick. Though in those situations, this kind of a leadership style ensures faster decision making. Then the disadvantage is results in micromanagement. Because leader, broadly speaking, is a role played at the larger scale, but whereas if you are a directive or a authoritarian leader, it requires always a micromanagement. Every minute aspect of the organization need to be taken care by a leader. So thereby unnecessarily the leader may be focusing on the small issues in the organization. So that may be one of the disadvantages of adopting a authoritarian or a directive or a the autocratic style of a leadership. Then one more advantage of this style is enhances workplace communication. Quickly, the communication takes place very quickly because the leader himself is taking a stock of every aspect, and he monitors everything, he decides everything. The communication happens quickly, then creates a dependency on the skill of a leader. Always the followers looks, that is the one more disadvantage, creates a dependency on the skills of a leader. Always employees depend on the creativity, or maybe if the situation comes to such a situation is that always they depend on the leader. The third advantage is improves the productivity. Authoritarian leader always behind the employees, always monitors them, always controls them. So thereby the productivity in the organization increases. Then disadvantage is discourages culture of a feedback. There is no feedback taken by a leader whether it is an effective or not, the work is done effectively or not. If there are any problems faced by the employees, they are unable to communicate to the leader about their problems. Then one more advantage is provides result from inexperienced teams. See, the situation wherein the employees are not experienced, the employees do not know how to work in a given situation. The education level of an employee may be very low and they are inexperienced in a given situation. At that time, the autocratic leadership works very well because monitoring is done by the leader in the organization. Probably this kind of leadership reduces the stress in the employees, because every responsibility is owned by a leader according to his directions, according to his guidance. You are only working in the organization when there is no much of the responsibility held with the employees. Obviously they don't take any onus, so thereby the stress is reduced, because always you have been monitored by your boss in the organization, so obviously reduces the stress in the employees. By that, it creates a lack of stress. Trust is one of the disadvantage. See, employees start feeling that my boss is not trusting on me. Every minute, every time my boss is sitting on my head, he never trusts and he doesn't have a trust in me. That is why he is closely following or monitoring me. So thereby the employees may feel that boss doesn't have a trust on me. That is why all the time he monitors me. So where there is no trust, probably in the working environment, it is very difficult to get the work done by an employees. Then inexperienced teams can be monitored very well and work can be done by the way of this type of a leadership. So when there is a close monitoring, there could be a possibility of a high pressure in the working environment is the disadvantage of this type, because always when somebody is watching you, it's more or less kind of a stick and carrot approach used by a leader in this type of the organization or in this type of a leadership style. Then this type of a leadership provides a clarity and structure and the roles. Very clearly, the roles and responsibility of an employee is clearly defined by a leader and the structure is very clearly defined. So in this pressure situation, and when you are clear with the structures, it may lead to lack of creativity is the disadvantage of this leadership style. When you know clearly these are the roles and responsibilities you are supposed to discharge, then the open environment is not created. When there is no open environment in a given watertight compartment, the employee's role and they expect that they only will discharge the responsibility assigned to them. So thereby there is a lack of creativity. The creative things, the new way of doing the work is not thought by the employees in the organization. Then the next advantage is improves crisis management. See, when the leader is always associated with the work which is carried out by the employees, if there is any sudden crisis arises, that crisis will be managed by the leader in the organization. Then it lowers the employees' morale is the disadvantage. When every responsibility, everything is carried out by a leader in the organization, the morale of the employees is down because no creativity. Leader is not listening to the employees in the organization and they work in a situation always which is a pressure on them. So thereby the morale of the employees will be down, and those who are working under such a type of a leader in the organization. Then the one more advantage of this kind of a leadership is generates a positive workplace result. Probably under this kind of a leadership there is no gossips around in the organization and each and every individual has got their own work about the clarity what work they are supposed to do, and the structure, roles and responsibility is defined very clearly, and each and every employee looks to discharge their own responsibility. So thereby the positive workplace and the positive results can be expected under this kind of a leadership style. Then this autocratic, the disadvantage is works only for a limited work culture. It only works in a limited work culture because if you look at the multicultural environment and with a different mindset and attitude of the employees of a different culture may not work out very effectively. So it only works autocratic, authoritarian, or a directive type of a leadership works only in a limited work culture, not in a multicultural environment. Because when you look into the multinational organization wherein the multicultural employees are working in the organization, if you are utilizing or using this kind of leadership may not work out, and thereby you may not attract the multicultural. If you are not attracting the multicultural employees in the organization, the creativity may not be expected. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of a first type of a leadership, that is the autocratic, directive, or it is also called as a authoritarian leadership style. Hope you could able to understand very clearly what are the features of autocratic leadership style and the advantages and disadvantages of this type of a leadership style. Before moving ahead, let me wind up for this session. Hope you have understood what is the meaning of a leadership and what are the features of a autocratic, directive, or leadership style, then advantages and disadvantages. In the next session, we will cover up remaining two types of a leadership. Let us wind up for the this session. Thank you so much for patient listening and understanding of a leadership. Thank you.